Hi guys, my name is Carrie Jane and welcome to my first YouTube video. Before I go into the topic of this video, I want to talk about why it's so hard for me to be sitting here and making this video and starting this channel. I want to start with basically what is standing in the way of me being successful in this endeavor and what it is that I want to do in my life, really. And that goes back, way back to 4-year-old Carrie. And I was a very, very strange child. It's even hard for me to explain how. And I had a very unique view of the world. I had a very rich inner life, and I had even very strange experiences that no one even knows about. Who I was and the life that I was perceiving and living was just the exact opposite of the circumstance that I was born into. And by circumstance, I mean my geography, my family, society as a whole, essentially. And so this was a struggle. Kids are very smart. They tend, not always, but they tend to give you a little bit of information, watch your reaction, how you feel about that and what you have to say about that, and then based on that, basically customize what it is that they're going to share with you. I was that kid. And so growing up, I had a very rich inner life that was never oppressed. There was never an external authority or force that said you shouldn't be having those thoughts or you shouldn't be having those experiences. Honestly, I think half because I never gave it the chance. It seems almost like on a subconscious level, I knew that in order to protect this very sacred, very unique aspect of myself, I had to basically just not share it with anyone. So I want to be clear that it was not an oppressive environment, but just literally like being on an alien world and having to edit out parts of yourself to make other people feel more comfortable. And I have a quote that describes this perfectly that I'm going to bring up. And it's by L.M. Montgomery. And it states this: I grew up out of that strange, dreamy childhood of mine and went into the world of reality. I met with experiences that bruised my spirit, but they never harmed my ideal world. That was always mine to retreat into at will. I learned that that world and the real world clashed hopelessly and irreconcilably, and I learned to keep them apart so that the former might remain for me unspoiled. I learned to meet other people on their own ground, since there seemed to be no meeting place on mine. I learned to hide the thoughts and dreams and fancies that had no place in the strife and clash of the marketplace. I found that it was useless to look for kindred souls in the multitude. One might stumble on such here and there, but as a rule it seemed to me that the majority of people lived for things of time and sense alone, and could not understand my other life. So I piped and danced to other people's piping, and held fast to my own soul as best as I could. Yeah. I learned very, very quickly that if I were to have any relationships at all, it would have to mean having a double life. I very much literally split myself in half and shared only one half of that with other people. And I had many friends. I did have many friends, close friends growing up. Not very like surfacey, shallow, acquaintance friends. It was lots of, people that I spent a lot of time with, basically in my childhood developments all the way up to high school, So it worked in a way, I guess. But eventually, when I got to college, something happened. I don't know what, but it just wasn't working anymore. I had to change everything. I had to basically cut off that other half that I had tailored so carefully to share with others for the sake of others. I am extremely thankful that I had developed these methods of self-preservation, because looking back as an adult, I don't think I would have made it okay. I don't think I would have made it all right without keeping everything to myself. My whole inner world, my whole spiritual reality, essentially. It's almost as if I knew at a very young age that if I were to just share that part of myself haphazardly, it would have been harmed. And then right now, I would have so much more to deal with than having difficulty with verbally communicating. I would have to do probably years of, inner work and therapy, even possibly, to work through the damage of that. And I do know a lot of people who have gone through that in their own way. I think everyone honestly has gone through that in their own way. It's rejection, but it's more than that. In your developing years, it does not take much to be totally dejected, to be utterly transformed in a way that when you eventually do get to adulthood, you're like, why do I have all these problems? Well, it starts out young, and it starts out with really basic things. And none of us really understand how fucked up we are, I think, until we have to parent our kids. Wow. Yeah. But anyway, because I survived where I grew up, not just where I grew up, like where I grew up was fine, but because I survived being who I am in the place that I was born, in the time that I was born, and still coming out the other end being utterly authentic, I am very much my own creation. I am a maverick. I am a pioneer of sorts. I have never had a mentor. I've always been my own mentor. I've never had a person to share these parts of myself, and yet they're quite developed, far more developed than many other people that I've spoken to about, these subjects and these perspectives that I'll be sharing on my channel. And that seems to be my life mastery. I'm very much walking myself home. And this is very different from what I've experienced so far. It seems to me that a very common life theme that many people have, a very common life path, is learning through relationship. People seem to have people, either on a small level or a very large scale. They seem to have, people come and go, but they also seem to have anchors, people they just can't seem to get away from. People who, for example, the couple, the married couple who got married, in their 20s, and then until death they were together. It doesn't have to be that example. It could be a friend, a parent, a sibling, anyone. But people, from what I've seen so far, seem to have come into a life with the intention of having stable people in their lives and learning in this way, learning from one another, whether it be what we perceive as a positive experience or a negative experience. But it seems that I've taken the very opposite route. I am, like I said, learning how to walk myself home. And while this may be very expansive and very beneficial for my soul, it's really screwed me over in trying to talk, in verbally communicating. I've had problems with my throat chakra with verbal communication for this reason, which has seriously slowed me down in my goals in life and what it is that I want to do. And so this channel is very much an experiment. I have no idea what's going to happen with it. No idea at all. I have no idea what it will turn into. I have no idea what people are going to think of it. I don't even know if anyone's going to find it. I know nothing. But this is a part of me trying to work through, all these obstacles that I have and overcoming this adversity so that I can finally be the person that I was meant to be and do what I was meant to do. So finally, after all this, we arrive at the question, what is the meaning of metanoia? There are two definitions to the word metanoia that you can find. One is a Catholic version, and it basically means to repent, to feel guilty about your own existence. It's very heavy, it's very dense. The second definition that you can find on metanoia is Greek, and it means very simply a spiritual conversion, a transformation that takes place holistically on many different levels. I want to be very clear that the definition that I am using for my entire platform, which includes my book, which I'll get into either in a few minutes or another video, includes my blog, iridescentsouls.com, and now it includes this YouTube channel. I am using the latter definition of a spiritual transformation. In a way, I feel that I'm taking it back from the harmful psychological effects of that first definition, to repent, to feel guilty about your own existence. In my experience, that's a way to work backwards, honestly. That's a way to devolve, not evolve, in your soul's journey. Metanoia started when I was 19. And I didn't know it was metanoia at the time. It took me like about a year to figure out, what metanoia was. But I first got the idea of a book where souls are born and die repeatedly on different worlds, in different civilizations, alien civilizations that are not necessarily human. Metanoia is that story, is that spiritual transformation that you witness in first-person point of view, told through a science fiction, fantasy genre. And then after that, it became a blog where I basically just talk about real things. All my posts have been from philosophy to empowerment to wanting to present a thought or an idea in a unique way that people don't tend to really think about. Now Metanoia is a YouTube channel and I'm very excited to see what it turns into, and you might at this point be wondering, well, what the heck is this channel going to be about? And half is, I'm not really sure, but I can share with you many of the ideas and the goals that I have starting off. So this channel will incorporate a lot of my very personal interests that I've never shared with online, on my blog, or anywhere. I also want to do, a lot of videos outside if I can, but we'll have to see. It will depend on the video. So, personal interests that I may include on this channel are, spiritual topics, wellness, tools for divination, numerology. I would like to make a series on numerology, crystals, anything. So I think half of the channel will be my personal experiences with those, and as well as either advice or insights that I can offer on those subjects. However, I would also like to have monthly online discussions with various people, and these people will be my friends, my family, or anyone, really. Anyone that I find who's willing to do it with me and who might generate an interesting conversation that can be shared. Overall, half of it will be personal, and then the other half will be very much like a podcast. So I think I've said all I can say for this video. Please share your thoughts in the comments, and please like and share this video so that it can become visible to those who are meant to find it. And yeah, thank you so much for making it to the end if you did. And hopefully I will be posting something else, my next video, very soon. Bye guys.